Can professors at one of America's most elite institutions speak their minds without the government's say-so? And what happens when a judge says the government is wrong? Before we continue, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in US politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow. Alright, let's talk about West Point, the cradle of American military leadership, and a recent court ruling that's sending ripples through academic and governmental circles. A federal judge, U.S. District Judge Kathy Seibel, has just stepped in and blocked restrictions that were placed on faculty at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. These weren't just minor guidelines, these were policies, put in place during the Trump administration, that effectively prevented faculty members from speaking to external groups without first getting permission. Think about that for a second. Academics, people whose job it is to research, analyze, and communicate complex ideas, suddenly needing the green light to share their expertise outside the hallowed halls of West Point. The judge's decision came down on Tuesday, and it was a decisive one. She agreed with a longtime law professor at West Point who brought the case. The professor argued, and the judge concurred, that these restrictions likely violate civilian professors' free speech rights under the First Amendment. The judge's statement, though parts are under seal, clearly indicates she found serious constitutional concerns. She stated, and I'm paraphrasing here for clarity, that even giving the defendants, meaning the government and the military, a lot of leeway, the policy was problematic. This wasn't a close call, it suggests a fundamental disagreement on how much control the government can exert over the speech of its own academics, especially when that speech doesn't necessarily compromise national security. So, what does this mean? At its core, this ruling is a victory for academic freedom and the First Amendment. It reinforces the idea that professors, even those employed by the military, retain certain rights to express themselves and engage with the public on matters of expertise. The professor who brought the suit, and likely many others at West Point and potentially other service academies facing similar constraints, can now speak more freely without the chilling effect of needing prior approval. This could lead to more open discourse about a wider range of topics, allowing West Point faculty to contribute to public debate and research in ways that were previously restricted. Who is affected? Primarily, the civilian faculty at West Point. But the implications could extend further. If other military academies have similar speech policies, this ruling could serve as a precedent, encouraging legal challenges there as well. It also affects the public's access to expert analysis and opinion from individuals who are deeply involved in national security and military strategy. The government, on the other hand, might feel that their ability to control messaging and prevent potentially unfavorable commentary from military institutions has been curtailed. This could lead to appeals, further legal battles, or even attempts to craft new policies that are more carefully worded to withstand constitutional scrutiny. What are the possible outcomes? Well, the immediate outcome is that the restrictions are blocked. Faculty at West Point can now speak more freely. However, this is likely not the end of the story. The Department of Justice, representing the government, could appeal this decision to a higher court. This would mean the legal fight continues, potentially all the way up to the Supreme Court, depending on how the appeals unfold. If the ruling is upheld on appeal, it could set a significant precedent for free speech rights within federal institutions, particularly those with a military or national security focus. It might also prompt a broader reassessment of how civilian and military institutions balance the need for operational security with the fundamental rights of their employees. This is a complex issue, touching on national security, academic freedom, and the very definition of free speech in a democracy. It's a story that is far from over. So what do you think about this? Should professors at military academies have unrestricted freedom of speech, or does the nature of their institution warrant specific limitations? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one. This ruling is a significant development in the ongoing debate about free expression and government oversight. We'll be watching closely to see how this plays out.